What is going on, guys? Crucible here, and today we are doing another breakdown video, showcase, and gameplay video for the Bardock leader. I love Bardock, man. Bardock is one of my favorite leaders in the Black archetype, and I know that there was some criticisms from my past video. Not really criticisms, but people were like, well, why aren't you running the Bardock's crew stuff? Why is, like, that's the whole purpose of the deck, is that you use the Bardock's crew stuff. And, well, guys, let's be a little honest here. The Bardock's crew stuff was not all that good when it released. Bardock was best utilized for his extra 5,000 power he gets on swing, as well as being able to scry the top of your deck to filter out what cards you're going to be drawing next. Like, that was his biggest gimmick. The extra combo that you get from the Bardock's crew stuff was secondary. It was always secondary because the stuff that was Bardock's crew was not all that great. You had the double striker, you had the SR, and then that's really kind of it. Everything else was more or less vanillas, and that was really kind of it. But now, with set 7, he now has access to this guy, and this guy is very, very good. This guy allows you to play it on as early as turn 1 or 2, going into turn 2 or 3. You swing with this guy into lead, you pay 2 energy, you draw 2 cards, and then you can free play out a Bardock's crew card that is a 4 cost or less. So there's a couple targets with this. We have the SR, obviously, and this SR is actually pretty good. I boosted up the deck from, I think I only ran 2 copies to the full playset. Just being able to swing 15 with leader 15 and then having a 25 to 30 and then another 20 after that is crazy. It's crazy good. And then you're still only minusing by 1 at a hand because you're only playing this out, right? The other target that I have is for New Legend. And New Legend was a extra card that released in set 3, but didn't really see a whole lot of use. Just because playing out at 5 cost 1 turn sooner at the time wasn't really all that impactful at the time. Now, though, being able to cheat out potentially one of these 5 costs going into turn 2 can be scary. It can be scary. Ideally, in the early game, I still want to do this play, right? I want to get this guy out first because he's going to be the card that allows us to control our opponent's board to a certain extent while also being able to swing for 35, 40 crit when we combo is just really, really strong. And then obviously we still run 2 of the double strikers because, you know, Bardock is more or less going to be the card that we are going to play to go for game in certain matchups. So outside of that, the deck is still the same. We're still running Paraparos. We're still running Hercules. I'm running Super Saiyan 3 Gokus to get a coin generated. Sometimes getting the coin generated allows us to activate this proc here. So on the off chance we're going into the late game and we need to play this card to get some draw power and some early game aggression, having that marker does kind of help a little bit. We got grade A babies to cheat out the 2 cost as well, which is pretty good. We removed the secret rare. The secret rare, I think when it comes to this Bardock's crew support, I think it's safe to say that the secret rare is just a little too slow for what we want to do. So we do want to maximize the amount. We want to maximize the potential with this card as best as we possibly can. Yep. And then we got resisting destinies instead of 10 times Kamehameha. Just being since we're going to be comboing a lot anyway, it's nice to have this for extra aggression, and then it replaces itself in hand. So very, very good. But yeah, this is more or less the deck. Nothing too crazy. But we are going to check out the new Bardock's crew support and kind of go from there. So let's get into the games. All right, so our first match is going to be going up against Omega. Just a spoiler alert for those that are only just getting into the video now. We will be going up against a bunch of meta decks in this particular video, with great effect, surprisingly enough. I'm actually kind of impressed by how well we were able to hold up. Now, I will say when it comes to Bardock going into the meta, I think it's not so easy for him, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's like, oh, the true defined answer against the meta. But he is going to have a lot of impact in the meta, just being able to swing as aggressively as he does. while also keeping the hand advantage. We know how good Red Cell is because Red Cell just gains advantage in his hand, like just to the utmost degree, right? He gets so much draw value. And Bardock, I think, is one of the few leaders that is just able to keep the draw value up in his favor, right? So we are able to just draw like crazy with this guy. And it helps to keep our hand filled up as well. And you'll see going into this match, like how effective going aggressive while keeping our hand size up as that actually can be, right? So he's going to bounce our Glorio back, and that's perfectly fine. And he's just going to pass here. We're at 12 cards in hand, still unawakened. 13 cards in hand, still unawakened. We are going to play our boy. And we're going to get that 15k swing in because we get the extra added aggression. Yep. And then we draw 2, so we're at 14. And we play out the 3 cost here. So we're at 13 cards in our hand, and we're still unawakened. We're not even, like, fully awake yet. And I decided to leave the Bardock up because I know he's going to swing into our Glorio, and he's probably going to burst attack it. I mean, he's doing this to get some cards out of our hands, so I do agree with the opponent's decision here to just swing into our Glorio and get our hand size down just a little bit. I agree with that tactic. And I did have the thought that he doesn't have the protection on this, so it would be good to play out the double striker and KO this, but I don't want him to burst attack our only double striker in hand, right? So we go for our play again. We're cycling out our hand. And we are putting some really good pressure in. We're still unawakened. He's only at 3. We're going to New Legend out the crit. And just swing for 30. Guarantees a super coming out of his hand. Yep, and once again, he's going to burst attack our board, which is perfectly okay. We're still unawakened, though. It's kind of insane that we're at this point and we're still unawakened. We got our Gogeta going into here, and I think we do just Gogeta, just to make sure that he can't like go crazy into our face and be able to swing up to like Oblivion, right? And I think he realizes that too. I think he realized in this particular moment that he is on the back burner and he does need to just push for aggression. So we take this, go down to 3 because I'm not scared of Double Striker. We have so much combo power in hand. We have an open energy that we can use this on. Like no matter what he decides to play here, there's only like so much he's able to do, right? But he doesn't go in for the thing. He's going for the defense, which is perfectly reasonable, perfectly valid. So here we use our leader ability to scry. We put some extra aggression into our Gogeta swing. And I decide to go up to 60. We're going to keep pushing. And we're going to force his hand down. And that was a telling sign for me that we had this match. So we play out the pan. And I'm worried about Whirlwind Spin. And he decides to take this. And we just go all in and we win. Now, he did have the combo power to get out of that pan swing. So obviously this could have been a situation where we lost if he decided to just go all in, right? Actually, no, he wouldn't have because he would have had the discard with Whirlwind Spin. So that, yeah. So, I mean, we were good there. We were good there. But that was definitely a moment where we had to like go all in with Double Striker, right? So on to the next one. All right, our next one's going to be against Kid Buu. Kid Buu, I think we probably have a relatively harder time with Kid Buu. I think yellow in general is really rough right now for black, especially when it comes to like the the 4-cost SR Metal Cooler that's running around in the Cooler deck, the Frieza deck, the Golden Frieza deck. That card can just completely shut us out. But I think, you're not going to see that probably in decks like this. You'll see that more in the Frieza Clan type decks. So in terms of going into Kid Buu, again, like we have Pans to go into the 4-cost, but we're not so reliant on Pan with this particular build. Like it's just there in case we have the ability to be able to do it. So he decides to rest our 2-cost. We are just going to defend this because there's no reason for us not to defend this. We're going to draw 2 off this anyway. So we're just going to swing face, draw 2. And we'll new legend to get our double striker out on turn 2, guys. Our double striker's out turn 2, which is crazy. I decided to leave him like this because I don't want to... I decided to leave him in standing because I don't want him to swing into it. I want him to like give us more cards back in hand. Yep, and we get some super combos, which is pretty good. We're going to swing double strike. We're going to force his hand down. He's either going to take this or he's going to give us some cards. So, and he gave us some cards. So, and we played this out as a deterrent from him swinging into our face. Obviously, he's going to swing into our face. But I expected him to actually rest this down and actually do something against that. So, unfortunately for him, we are just going to draw 2. Yep, so we play this. We swing this. We scry our deck. We swing for 20. We swing for 25. And do we new legend here? I don't remember if we new legend here. No, we played 3 costs. Okay. Yep, so we're going to get some early. We're going to get some more aggression in. And I figured he was going to block with this. I don't know why he doesn't block with that. I guess he wants to keep our stuff locked down every turn, which makes sense, but going down to 1 against this deck is actually a little scary for him. So, all right, so he goes for the double strike maneuver. I expected to see, and we decided to let this go. We just did this to kind of put some like lower costed cards in our hand, right? We want to scry our hand a little bit or cycle our hand. So this turn's actually pretty crazy. So I decided to play out the 3 cost to then play out Chi-Chi, right? And I want to fake him. Excuse me. I'm going to go for game this turn. I want to feint him into thinking that we're going to swing up heavy and we're going to combo Chi-Chi into this, right? So we'll slow this down just for this particular turn, right? So we swing with Bardock. He decides to block. Now this is the perfect setup because I can combo Gogeta, get some combo power in hand. This won't kill him, so this doesn't hurt our bottom line. We can now draw for 1, grab a 10. We can swing with Bardock, scry our deck for when we draw. And now we draw a 10k. And we're just going to go all in with everything we got. And 110 is not too easy for us to get over. We still activate this to get rid of double striker. Not that I figured if he were to somehow get out of this, he was going to be left with like 1 card in hand. What can he really do with 3 life with one hand, right? Depending on what our draw is. So, but we had enough combo power to kind of supersede him. We had enough combo power to do it. I love the fake out there because I thought that was pretty clever on my part. I'm like, oh, let me, because I did think about playing out the 5 cost, right? The crit. But I'm like, he's got the blocker, and he's just going to block with that, and then like everything else on my board is rested. Like, let me go low to the ground and just swing into his face, and just fake him out into thinking that we're gonna go big with the double swinger, right? So yeah, that was that match. Pretty fun match, honestly. I actually had a lot of fun with that one. But on to the next one. All right, going into our next match, we're going up against Red Cell. Like I said at the beginning of the video, guys, this is the meta deck. If you guys aren't aware, I think it was one of the Japanese regionals, but the most recent Japanese regional had Red Cell, Kid Buu, and Omega Shenron running on in the top 8. So this is the meta right now. Currently the meta is Cell and Kid Buu and Omega. Surprise, no Piccolo. I figured Piccolo would actually have a semi-decent shot, but I guess maybe like the early game aggression or the early game doesn't really help him too much. So maybe that's why he's not physically present right now. I still think that he can top 16, but really it's just going to be dependent on if he's able to see his ramp pieces, right? So yeah, he plays hit. He starts going very aggressive in the early game, which is perfectly fine. I play out the Glorio for 2 because I want to get rid of this hit. I don't want to swing at his face. So we're just gonna take these hits, do our little song and dance, right? Go back and forth with our swings. He's gonna awaken us, which I'm perfectly fine with. And what sucks for him, I think, in this particular moment is that actually, we don't have our setup. We're actually going to be looking for our setup here. So that's 4 cost Cell. Doesn't do anything to our Glorio, which is perfectly fine. We do get our piece, though. So we're going to do our piece. We're going to swing in his face. We're going to activate, draw 2, and we're going to new legend into our crit. And we decided to swing with Glorio as opposed to the crit because on the off chance that he does do what he just did, which was to combo the 4 cost off, we won't have to combo anything when we swing. So but yeah, we're sitting at 10 cards right now. He's gonna have to deal with a 30k swing. And he gives us the first super combo, which is great. And now he's gonna have to worry about our board to an extent. Yep, so I'm going to defend that. Just because I figured he would do exactly this. And do we combo out of this? Yeah, we combo out of this because we want the added aggression and he can't KO this. So and I think we go baby here, depending on what we do. I think we just raw play baby out to combo this off. Yeah. Yeah, because there was no reason to play the Hercule. We didn't have a marker, so yep, so now he's got 2 30Ks that he got to deal with on the board. But now he's at 5 energy. He can now do his chain. He swings at our face, which is whatever, you know. He can KO that. And I want him to swing into this baby. I want him to remove this baby. That's perfectly fine with us. So now we're kind of even in hand size here. Yep, so we play the 3 cost. I want to get rid of this 5 cost on board. He's given us more cards, so now we're even in hand. This is actually very dangerous for Cell to go this low in hand. He raw plays out the 5. He self-destructs it to get rid of this. Now he's going to swing at our face. And we're just going to take these hits. And so, yep, he takes that. We decide to go Jita. That's sell off the board. We're going to swing into him, get him down to 2. And now we have our game-winning strat. We can play our double striker and just go for game. We decide to block out of this because there's really not much else he can do in this particular situation here. If he wants to go for that, he can. I'm keeping all my combo power for the double striker. So, and that was the perfect draw on our end. Because now we can do this. We can take a life. We get some combo. And now we can just go all in. And there's just no way that he's going to be able to out-combo us in this particular situation. So, yeah. I mean, when it comes to the meta, I think Bardock does have a fairly decent chance. You just have to see your pieces. You have to be able to see your 2-cost Bardock. You need to be able to, like with this particular build in particular, like if you go the old route with the old deck profile that I had, having like the secret rares and just relying on marker and just playing out the big bodies like for cheaper, for the added aggression, that's more reliable. You're not so dependent on having to see this piece to keep your hand size up. But the takeaway from this deck is the fact that if you see your 2 costs early, you're going to get so much advantage off being able to do so. So that's why I always try to mulligan to try and see one of these 2 costs. And it's also heavily dependent on if we get marker turn 2, because playing this turn 2 is actually fantastic. So, all right, let's go on to the last one. All right, so this last one is going to be up against Cooler. Now, I've been really high on Cooler since he got all the new support. And it seems like he seems to be doing really well for people. I'm very happy to see that Cooler has really had like a bit of a resurgence. I think in this particular matchup, we are just at a disadvantage outright. The fact that he's just able to restand stuff by discarding and then just recouping that discard back in hand with either the 3-cost Cooler, the 4-cost Cooler, or he gets extra advantage by just being able to like double freeze something down with the meta Cooler, is very obnoxious. But it is like good for him, right? So yeah, I do think we are just at a disadvantage when it comes to Cooler. Especially since he's got all of the Frieza tools. And this is just one of the reasons why I say that like Golden Frieza, like the deck as a whole, as itself, is fine, right? My criticisms to Golden Frieza and why I don't think he's as good of a deck is due to the fact that you're not getting a whole lot of value off of his leader ability. If he had more stuff like the 5-cost King Cold Mecha Frieza blocker that just restood it, that basically keeps his life up off playing stuff, I would be more like involved on it. But realistically, you're only getting that ability off once per game. And that's to put out either the 6-cost secret rare or the 5-cost Frieza that freezes down your energy. You guys know what I mean. Like when you look at the Frieza package as a whole, excuse me, when you look at the Frieza package as a whole, everything that's run in Golden Frieza, you can run in Cooler. You can run in OG Frieza. And I think, for the most part, I think at least with Cooler specifically, does just run that better. So in this particular matchup, we were able to keep a solid board state. We're able to keep a solid board state, but this is where it all starts to kind of buckle down. So he plays out King Cold to play out Meta Cooler. And we defend what we can here. And again, we're just trying to keep our cards like alive, right? And this is just nasty. Being able to discard a card to then just freeze something else down. Like this card is obnoxious. Like looking at this card, like this should have been once per turn, but maybe it was designed with cooler in mind and it wouldn't have made sense otherwise, right? I don't know. It just seems like it's doing so much for what a 4-cost generally is, right? So he decides to defend it because obviously like that's a very important piece right now for him. Yep, and we're just comboing this so we can just completely clear the board. Now he's got to worry about four bodies on board, but we have no hand advantage whatsoever. We have none. And so he's going to be able to draw twice with this, which is unfortunate. Yep. So we got that. I'm going to play this to play out the crit. And we'll get our draw. And we just keep drawing like all of our like dead stuff in hand. So I decided to keep these 2 cards up for combo power. We might have to just axe them. And he just plays second meta cooler, which is a little unfortunate. So yep, he's able to rest this down. So now he's going to be able to he's going to rest that down, so he's going to be able to restand it and then freeze both of the stuff on our board. And we just keep drawing dead cards after dead cards. And then unfortunately, I think a misplay was to well, it wasn't really a misplay, but like comboing off that piece just to draw another dead card just kind of sucked. So, but yeah, just when it comes to some of these decks, sometimes they just see their pieces better than we're able to see our pieces. So yeah, I mean, that's just game over. So there was no point in comboing this. It was just game. So, Cooler, very impressive, looking. I'm actually very excited that Cooler's back. So, let's wrap it up. So that's going to do it for today's deck profile video. Let me know what you guys think of the new and depending on the persuasion, improved Bardock. I do love this new card. This new support I think is great. And again, like we're able to contend with the meta decks right now with this deck. Whether it'll be again, contending is a different word than eclipsing, right? We're able to go into the meta decks and have decent results and pretty good results. That's not to say that Bardock is better than all of the meta decks right now, right? Like all the meta decks are just better. But this is still just such a fun deck. And I have so much fun just with Bardock as a whole. Like now it actually like doesn't matter how you build this guy. Like you can build him Bardock's crew and go this route. You can build him generic and just focus on the draw aspects of the secret rare and the marker generation, playing out potentially Gogeta turn 5. Like there's a lot of ways you can play this deck now. And I think that's awesome. We do know that that Bardock is getting a super combo going into set 8. Maybe there's more Bardock support behind the curtain. We'll have to see what happens when set 8 kind of comes around in December. But yeah, no. But for the time being, this is fun. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. I will see you guys all in the next Fusion World video. Peace.